Hey folks, Sonia Ash here. Today I want to show you how to use our new box photography templates. This particular template has an opening for 9 photos, and you'll notice that 3 of the photos I provided you with some decorations, some Christmas decorations that you can choose to use or you can shut them off and put photos in there. One thing I want to talk about with these particular ornaments is that they're set on these certain rows based on their perspective. So for instance, this bottom row, you're going to see more of the ground shadow. So I put the presents down here. This tree, it's really more straight on, so you're not going to see much of a shadow. And the ornaments up top, you're not going to see any shadow on the ground at all because you're really seeing the top of the box here. Now you're free to move these ornaments anywhere on their row to sort of maintain that perspective. So if we, for instance, want to move these ornaments, let's go select the ornaments. We can move those over, say, to the middle box. So this is box number 2. What we would do is we would turn off box number 2 because we don't want to have that box on. That's just for adding a photo to. And then we turn on box number 3 because we'll be putting a photo in there. So that's how you can sort of move them along their rows. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and put a picture in here. So I've got a picture of this dog Tucker. I'm going to quickly go back to this template because I want to put him in this 8th box right here. So I'm going to choose that layer. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to Tucker. And I'm going to make sure I have my move tool. You're going to click on this. You're going to drag it up to your template tab. You're going to come back down to the canvas and you're going to let it drop. And now what we're going to do is we're going to clip it to the box below it. So to do that, you can right click, create a clipping mask, and you can see that we're going to fit him right into this box right here. So now what we want to do is we want to transform him. So we will do Edit, Transform, Scale. Now, it's a pretty big image, so we're going to zoom out somewhat. Very, very important here is to hold down your Shift key as we're grabbing any one of these 4 corners to scale. And we're going to bring that down to the size we think looks good. Zoom in here a little bit. And we want to fit him in the box completely. That looks good right about there. So I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard to set that scale. And then you'll notice the top here, we don't have enough enough of your photo to fill that. So what I like to do is I go grab my marquee tool. And since we're shooting this on a white background, you're going to take just a piece of the top here, and then we're going to do Control T on the keyboard, that's transform, and just drag it up until it fills the box. Since it's white, it won't make much of a difference. And then Control D to sort of deselect. And now we've got the dog fitting right in there. But what you'll notice is you can see the ground. He should be down on the ground. So let's go back. I just grabbed my move tool. Let's come down and let's get him in perspective. So his paws should probably be right on the edge here. And maybe move him back here just a little bit. So I think that works. Now that means that we've got to come up here and we've got to fill that in again. So again, go grab the marquee tool. Let's just grab the top of this. Control T on the keyboard and just fill the box. Drag it up to fill the box. Hit enter. And then Control D to deselect. And that looks good right about there. One important thing to note is that you'll need to take your photos on a white background so that you can add them easily to these photo layers without having to extract your images. You can see because it was shot on white, it's pulling through all of the all of the background creases of this box. And it's also retaining the shadows of your image, which means you don't have to go in and try and paint in some shadows that may or may not look realistic. You'll also notice that the background of the box is coming through his body somewhat, and that is to be expected. I'm going to show you a little later on in the video how we're going to fix that and make the colors pop somewhat. So I'm going to add all of the other photos to the other boxes here, and then come on back and show you how we can brighten up the images and remove the creases. So with the power of time-lapse video, I've gone in, I've added all of the dogs in here. Now what I want to show you is how we remove the background creases, and like I said before, especially down in here you can see these. But let me go back quickly before we get started here to the photos. And I want to stress that this will work perfectly if your images are shot over white. What we're trying to do is not have you have to extract the images and paint in the shadows, but instead use the natural shadows from your photo and easily add them into this template. So let me go on back now. So I'm going to zoom in here, and again, as you can see, there's a little bit of a checker in this background, and you can see it come through, especially in the light parts of the image. So what we're going to do, and this is a real simple process, is we're going to come down here to this layer that says Remove Box Background and Brighten. Now we're going to paint in this mask layer, okay? What we want to do is we want to paint with black, which means we want to remove the background. So we want to get a soft brush, and again we're painting with black. So I'm going to come in here, and you want to stay inside the lines. So just like coloring inside the lines. And basically all we're doing is we're removing the background, which is going to bring back parts of your image, and it's also going to brighten the image. You'll notice it mostly, in the white parts. Right here, we'll go ahead and we want to remove those corner creases. And this is so much easier than extracting your images, trying to paint in convincing shadows. I mean, they're all right here. They retain your shadows, which are beautiful and will help you create a more convincing composition. So you get the idea. You just come through, paint inside the lines, try not to go outside. And if we zoom back out, you can see there's no longer any crease in there, and we've brightened up the image. So you're going to do that. You're gonna stay in this one mask layer, and you're going to do that for the rest of your images. So you just zoom into the next part and just keep painting. And this is a real simple process. And anywhere you see any of those checkered areas, you just paint them out. And I'd say this is a whole lot easier than extracting your images from their backgrounds, ending up with some jagged edges, some unconvincing shadows. You just simply need to paint out the checkerboard background from all of your images. So I won't do all of them here, but I just want to give you an idea of how we go ahead and remove the background and brighten them up. And for the final touch, of course, you can just come up to your text layer, double click on the T over here, and you can just change the name. That's it. This does remind me, if the name is a little bit longer, let's make that a little bit longer. You'll notice, you can center that up a little bit. Oh. I'm going to grab my move tool and I'm going to move that right about in the middle. Okay, but you can see that your line is kind of running into it. Well, there's an easy fix for that. So come up to your line layer, grab your marquee tool again, or you could grab your brush as well, but I like to have a nice square edge. So you can just draw a box around the name. Make sure you're in the mask layer. Oops. Make sure you're in the mask layer of the line, and you're just going to fill that with black. And then we'll hit Command D to deselect. And so basically you're just painting the line out. The line actually extends all the way across, but if you paint black in the line layer, you can remove parts of it. So that's it. That's basically how you work with our box photography templates. Have fun and post some on our Facebook page for us. We'd love to see your creations.